All right. Someone has their microphone on? No, we're good. Okay, so I'm going to present my screen, and we will head over to Google Classroom for Science. Let's see. Huh? How do I? It's a program called GoGuardian, so all the teachers have access to their classes stuff. So I can, whenever you log into your computer, I can see what you are doing. It doesn't matter what website you're on, and if you look up something inappropriate, they'll flag it so that we know. So don't look up anything bad. If it's an ad, it does, I don't know. It's more of like your search history, not what pops up, because it should be restricted enough that it blocks your ads for the most part. I know sometimes it doesn't, but yeah. Anyway, let's go ahead and go down to science. We are on, it's called Space Extreme Environment. There's two things here. One of them is a Google Slides. The other is a Google Doc. We're going to start with the Google Slide and do a little bit of information, true, false, answer the questions like we have been. And then the other one is kind of a fun activity that we'll end on. But the graded part of it is this part. So this is the part you want to make sure you complete for sure. And the other one is just a fun activity after. Okay? So I'll give you guys about 30 seconds to get logged into this one. Get it pulled up and opened. Yes. All right, so we have a little reading we're going to do. It's basically what we did a lot last week, right? We will read through it, answer some true false questions, and then there is 2 questions that you will need to answer. There are not text boxes or circles, so you are going to have to draw those in yourself. But I think we're all getting really good with Google Slides that you guys can all do that now on your own without me having to show you, correct? Okay, good. Let's go ahead and read through it. So space, extreme environment. Yes?
Before we start,
what
if they made a water bottle that can save people?
I don't think they would do that.
20 people.
Okay, we're going to read this now. Space, extreme environment. Space is one of the most extreme environments imaginable. The spaceships are subjected to extreme temperatures, both hot and cold, and the threat of radiation damage. Each spacecraft that is launched into space deals with many dangerous situations throughout its journey. Number 1, when the spacecraft is launched, the rocket that sends the spacecraft into orbit will shake violently, and it is extremely loud inside the spaceship. The engineers who build the spaceship need to test whether it will hold up under these conditions. To test it, they simulate the conditions of the launch in a laboratory. Speaking of launching things, have you guys heard about Elon Musk, and he's trying to do SpaceX crafts, and he's trying to launch things into space, right? I think he's trying to get to Mars, from what I know. So the first time that he tried to launch his SpaceX craft as like test runs, there's no people in it. It's just a spacecraft, right? There's no actual people in it. The first time he tried to launch one, I think it was probably in California. That's where he lives. It blew up like that. Like it immediately blew up. It didn't work. And then the second time he tried to launch one, it was pretty recently, a couple weeks ago. It made it up in the air, and everybody's like, "Oh my god, it launched!" And then it was in midair and it exploded in midair. So he's not doing too great so far at getting those up in the air, but that's why they have to test these things, because if it doesn't launch correctly and there are people inside, that's not good, right? That has happened before in history. There was a spacecraft called the Challenger, and they invited like civilians, so people that were not astronauts, to go up into space. One of them happened to be a teacher. This is like the 1980s. So the whole school in the world is watching this rocket take off to go into space, right? and about, I think it was 17 seconds into the launch, it exploded. It didn't make it, and everybody on the spacecraft died. So it was really sad. I want to say like 20 people died on that explosion. So that's why they have to test these things. No one, no. I don't know. We'd have to look more into that. But that's why they have to test these things, because if it's not exactly correct, like it goes really, really wrong, really, really fast, right? Maybe. Let me find it and look over it first, and we'll see. Okay. Cheyenne, you got a hand raised? You got a question? You can type it or say it out loud if you actually have a question. If not, that's fine too.
I accidentally pushed it.
Oh, okay. We're good then. So, number 2 here says temperatures in space can range from extremely cold, hundreds of degrees below freezing, to many hundreds of degrees above freezing. So, especially when the spacecraft goes closer to the sun. Depending on where in space the spacecraft is going, the engineers will build either cooling systems or heat insulators. So, space is actually really, really cold. Like, there's no, I don't know how to describe it, but it's really cold in space unless you're close to the sun. So if you're in the part of the orbit that's far away from the sun, it's going to be really, really cold. But if you're in the orbit that's close to the sun, it's going to be really, really hot. So they have to make sure that the temperature inside the spacecraft stays good, or else the people inside are going to die as well. Tyler, please stop. Stop. Please stop it. Don't watch it, please.
Oh, please watch it.
Okay, good. I don't know what it says, or I will find something first. Yeah. Number 3. The radiation from the sun can cause the computer technology on the spacecraft to malfunction if the spacecraft is not insulated properly. That's kind of what happened in that story you read about the canary, right? Where they got too close to the sun or something, and something froze, or maybe it was opposite. I don't know. Something froze because it wasn't properly taken care of, and they all could have died, but the canary saved them, right? That was a fictional story, but it was an eclipse, right? Yeah. So that was a fictional story, but based off of true things that could actually happen in space. Number 4. While in outer space, there is no air and no gravity. You feel nothingness all around you. The space suits that astronauts wear protect them from the low pressure in space. If they took off their suit, the low pressure would cause their blood to start to bubble, removing oxygen from the blood and starving their brain of oxygen. So not good. Yeah. You don't have any air to breathe, so you are just suffocating. What was that? It is very cold in space, but that doesn't have to do with whether or not there's air. So you will freeze eventually too, yes, depending on. It's just what happens inside your body when you don't have air. Bradford? SpaceX one, is that Elon Musk's thing? Yeah. All right. Number 5. Skylar, space forward. Number 5. Sickness is an issue for people in space. Humans are built to live under conditions that have gravity. The feeling of weightlessness due to zero gravity causes symptoms of nausea, vomiting, dizziness, headaches, and tiredness. Muscles will also break down over time, as astronauts do not have to use their muscles against the force of gravity. So that's something that happens to your muscles. It's called atrophy.
Because
It's when you don't use your muscles, they start to break down because you don't need them anymore. So your body starts to break down your muscles because you haven't used them in a long time. So if you think about someone who is paralyzed, they don't use their legs. They physically cannot use their legs, right? So their muscles start to atrophy because they're not using those muscles anymore. So they get small and they kind of go away, right? So they don't have any muscles on their legs really that they can use because they can't physically use them.
What if we had a cramp in there?
What?
What if we had a cramp?
If you're paralyzed and you have a cramp, you can't feel it. I don't find it that funny. It's a serious condition.
I was just wondering.
Yeah. So there's a lot of bad things that could happen in space if you are not careful. So there's 5 true-false questions that you need to answer. You can use the circles up at the top to answer them. And then there are 2 questions. Number 1, why is living in space an extreme environment? And I'd like you're going to have to create your own text box for that. Create a text box, and I want you to have complete sentence here. And then the second one, what do you think would be the hardest part about being in space? So that's an opinion. What do you personally think would be the hardest part? But I want complete sentence there too. So you guys have 7 questions total to do. 5 true, false, and 2 answer the questions. I'm gonna give you guys about 10 minutes. I'll turn on a little bit of music and let you guys work on that. And then we will go do the second part of this, the fun activity after. But I think 10 minutes is probably enough time to work on these couple of questions. Yes. Yeah. She was young.
Did she die?
Yes.
What happened?
I talked about the explosion already.
Sorry.
Yeah. Well, put your hair over your head like it's supposed to be and do your work, please. We're not in the grudge, so I would like you to do your work, please.
Wait, is this the same as living in space can lead to nausea, tiredness, and vomiting? Is that the same thing as
Yeah. Wait.
living in space can lead to nausea, tiredness, and vomiting? And it's feeling of weightlessness.
Yeah, it's the same thing, yeah.
Think of vomiting in your spacesuit. Ew.
Gross.
Just see it. That would happen.
Okay, be working on those couple questions, please.
What happened? Yeah, I know. You got one in your first 2. No, because we came to popular the morning. I'm saying, can you ask them that question? Can you mention the question? Nice to meet you. No, no, for me,
That's in number. It's in number 4 down. No, because we still have another part of the assignment to do. So don't turn it in when you finish. Just sit tight for a few more minutes. Huh?
Yeah. I said cardio, not carnival. We're not in some kind of carnival saying hallelujah or some
Focus and work, please. Couple more minutes. Jada, put it away and do your work, please.
I got River Jordan.
Would it also be true with race? Astronaut didn't have space and he freeze to death? Yeah.
Yes, the arm will freeze and your body will hold.
Your whole exchange, your blood will start bubbling.
Not like it boils for revenge.
Bubble, bubble, bubble.
The blood boils for revenge. And
The moon being revenge. Where's our music at? Did anyone see the full moon last night?
I did.
Oh,
I was
Not
up
happening.
all night, and I was outside all night. Huh? All night.
Okay, let's see.
Wow.
Gotta get to work.
Okay.
Get to work.
Oh.
Hope of you guys are getting close to finishing, so give you about 2 or 3 more minutes, and then we will work on the second part of this. Yeah.
Miss Jones, can I put this, wait, never mind. I'm gonna put this right number two, I'm gonna say,
Huh?
What do you think would be the hardest part of getting space to not move from the ground?
We watched a couple of those videos, right?
Yes.
Moving around in space.
I wanna be in this thing where there's no gravity. Is there a way that we show that someone can move that?
Yeah, it's called a,
With no gravity?
I don't know what it's called.
There's
There's
no
a,
way to grab some air.
Yeah.
Can we grab some space water?
there is, basically you can go in a plane, right? It has to be a certain type of, not in just like, oh, I'm gonna fly to Utah. Like it has to be like a specific plane. And you have on your spacesuits or whatever, and they go really high up in the air and they're going really fast. And then what the plane does is it basically just plummets, and you are left with the feeling of weightlessness, like you have no gravity, and you can move around and do things, and it simulates like you're in space.
Yeah.
That sounds fun.
That sounds terrifying.
It sounds cool.
Awesome.
No, thank you.
And there is no upside down or.
Where do you find that at? 'Cause I wanna do that.
I don't know. It probably costs a lot of money. Sorry. Okay. So let's go ahead and look at the second part of this assignment. So if you did not get to finish the slide, finish it later. This one, the Google Doc won't take us very long either. So this is called the moon landing scenario. Go ahead and take about 30 seconds and get that opened up, and then we will review what it is. Oh, that's the wrong slide.
I love slime.
Hmm.
I looked it up and it costs $6,500.
Yeah, see, it's expensive.
That's one thing I'm like.
And it's probably not a very long thing either. Like you only feel weightlessness for maybe like 30 seconds, and then they land and you're done.
Sounds awesome. Just 30 seconds?
Probably something like that, yeah.
That sounds awesome.
Okay, cool. Well, let's go ahead and work on this. So, moon landing. It says something about teams. We are not going to do it in teams. You're just going to do it on your own, and we will talk about it. Now, I will say, unless you've already done it, but try not to scroll down and look at anything down below, because it gives NASA's ideas, and I want you guys to do this without thinking about what NASA would do first, okay? Oh, well, too late. So try to do it without scrolling down and seeing what NASA would do. What we're going to do is act like you are a member on the space crew schedule to rendezvous with the mothership on the lighted surface of the moon. So you are going to the moon. However, due to mechanical difficulties, your own ship was forced to land at a spot 200 miles from the other ship. During re-entry and landing, much of the equipment aboard was damaged, and since survival depends on reaching the mothership, the most critical items available must be chosen for the 200-mile trip. There are 15 items listed below that are intact and undamaged after the landing. Your task is to rank them in terms of their importance to get across the moon, to allow you to reach the mothership where you need to get to. So you're going to place a number 1 by the most important item, a number 2 by the second most important item, and then so on until you get to 15. So there are 15 things here. Again, try not to go down to the bottom page. So these are your 15 items. A box of matches. While you're thinking about these and ranking them, think about where you are. You're in space. There is no oxygen. You have no gravity. You have to go 200 miles. What's going to be most important? What's going to even work in space?
No oxygen?
There's no oxygen. Well, you have a spacesuit. You're in a spacesuit. Well, okay. So you have a box of matches. There is food concentrate, which is like space food. You can shake it up and it makes food, right? 50 feet of nylon rope. So you have rope to go 50 feet out. Parachute silk. I don't know what that is. Let me Google that. One sec. Parachute silk. Not silk. Silk. Parachute silk. Well, that's why we wait for instructions.
Call duty for.
Parachute silk is just the material that parachutes is made out of. So you have some of that. You have 2 pistols. You have 1 case of dehydrated milk, so you can put a little water in it and you get some milk. You have 2 100-pound tanks of oxygen, so you have oxygen. A stellar map, which is a map of the stars, so like a map to get around the moon. A self-inflating life raft, so you would have to pump up your life raft. A magnetic compass, so the way that a magnetic the magnetic compass works is it will always point north, and you have to angle yourself the direction you need to go. 5 gallons of water, signal flares, so shooting a little thing in the sky to make a color so that people know where you are. A first aid kit containing injection needles. Solar powered FM receiver, so a radio, like a walkie-talkie basically, based off of solar energy. Where does solar energy come from? The sun. So think about that when you're on the moon. And then a portable heating unit, so keeping warm. Those are the 15 items. You need to put them in order on the left from 1 through 15 of what you think is the most important. I'm going to give you guys like 5-ish minutes to put those in order from least to most important.
Like, are we on the moon?
You are on the moon trying to go 200 miles across the moon. You basically crash landed in this one spot, and you need to go 200 miles across the moon to get to the base, to where you'll survive, like the mothership.
What would be able to use the compass to do that?
I don't know.
What are the numbers? I mean, like, use amount.
What do you mean you won't use a number?
Like, you're not, there's only, I only use.
15. You should have 1 through 15 on there.
No, but I don't want to.
Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a minute so that I can write down the order that NASA put them in so that I can.
Can I go down and look now?
No,
Oh, but I finished the ranking.
I guess it doesn't matter.
Wait, so then what are the 15?
What we're going to do for the team ranking is that I'm going to put, write down the order that NASA put them in, and then we're going to see how yours compare at the end. We're going to put NASA's numbers next to it and compare it later.
So, like, I can't go down the thing yet?
I mean, it doesn't matter. Once you finish, I guess you can, but we're going to talk through the rest of it too.
What, how?
How what looks?
Let's go and then go up all the way and then you're like. like 25 seconds.
All right, guys, go back to your desks and do the assignment, please. I know Dallyn's done, but I don't think Bradford and Alex are. So there you go. Now do your assignment, please.
I did not, my comparison that I did was awful compared to theirs. I didn't even get one right. I did get, I thought I was food concrete. That's weird.
What?
How did I get,
Okay. When you're done, let me know in the chat so that when most of you guys are done, we can move on.
okay, I got one right out of all of them. I got 3 right. I'm not joking, I got one right. I got 15 out of 15.
I got 14 right out of 14.
You think you can catch a bullet in space?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think we should try.
Yeah, we should.
But in space, there's no gravity, so I don't think it can even go that fast.
The bullet will still move through space, though.
But not as fast as it would.
Yeah, true. We want you here.
You know, Elon Musk is last name. What's the solar power?
It's a radio powered by the sun.
Now let's see what space is.
Okay.
You think Elon Musk is a billionaire?
Oh, yeah, he's one of the richest people in the world.
Including the president?
The president is not actually rich. The president only makes $400,000 a year to be the president.
What if they were like billionaires?
No, the presidents don't actually make that much money.
So they make 100,000. I want to see what the most highest.
They make $400,000 a year. 400,000 a year, which is still a lot. That's a lot of money, but it's not like they're not billionaires after that. Okay, I'm gonna give you guys about 3 more minutes to put your lists in order. How you think they are.
You know what the most, the highest paying job is? The dentist. It's a certified public accountant.
I don't know about that one.
It says that.
Skylar, least degree, or put them in order.
What's the lowest?
I don't know.
Kaylin, put them in order.
Oh, never mind, here's the number 1 cardiologist. The cardiologist is the first one. The orthodontist.
Guys, at this rate, it looks like Phil is the only one done, but I know that's not true. And I also know there's a lot of you guys that still need to get to work on it. I asked you to put it in the chat when you were done and stay quiet. No. Skylar, you're not done. Put them in order, the order you think you're going to need them. 1 through 15. I think this is a pretty fun activity, so. Pepper, you don't even have open the thing that I need you to be doing, so go open it.
My great grandma's brother is a millionaire, and he owns like a couple of things.
Ooh.
He has an elevator.
Okay, about 3 more minutes. Put them in order from what you think you might need them.
I mean, how is this? Did I ask you? Are you listening to me? No. Okay, well, I am talking to you to go do your work. Yeah, so you should be filling out the one with my ranking. What order do you think you need? SCURDIVE. I'm serious, I've had them before, they do not taste good. What is it? Space food. Well, they basically take like the food and they like suck all of the water and the nutrients out of it. They're gonna make it go bad, and all you have to do is add a little bit of water and like shake it up, and it becomes edible, but it's not good. How do you eat it? You eat it. Same way, yeah. Like. You got it. All right, we're gonna do about 1 more minute and then we're gonna go over it. So at this point, you guys should be finishing up the left side right here, putting your rankings. And then what we're gonna do is I'm gonna put them in order over here, the way that NASA says, and we're gonna compare your guys' sides. And then we'll discuss why they chose their order too. Yeah. At the very bottom? Yeah, we'll talk about what it means and why you can't use some things or you can and all that stuff. I mean, 245 caliber pistols. I mean, it's not even something up there that aliens. Unless there's aliens. I don't think there are.
Have you heard of the
No. We can talk about it later though. All right, I think we've got most people done if they were listening. So NASA, their first one is the oxygen tanks. Number 1, you need oxygen to survive in space.
Well, so you want to lay a match around it.
Well, we'll talk about that one in a minute. Number 2 is the water. 5 gallons of water. You're walking 200 miles. It may be in space, but you still need water to survive. Number 3 is the stellar map, because you need a map to figure out where you're going. So the map is going to help you get where you're going. Number 4 is the food concentrate. No, concentrate. Because you need food to survive as well. Number 5 is the FM receiver. That is a radio. So you can talk. Number 6 is the nylon rope. Number 7 is the first aid kit. Number 8 would be the parachute silk. Number 9 is the life raft. Where did that go? There it is. The parachute silk. Oh, are you guys typing these out? Sorry, I'll slow down. My bad. We're going to go over why. It says it down below, so we'll talk about those in a minute. So number 9 is the self-inflating life raft. Number 10 is the signal flares. Number 10 is the signal flares. Number 11 is the guns, the pistols. Number 12 is the case of milk. Number 13 is the very bottom one, the portable heating unit. Number 13. Number 14 is the compass. And number 15 is the box of matches. It's the most useless item up there. Okay, so now let's see how many of you guys got the most correct. Compare it across and count how many you got right and see who got the most. Charlie got 3. Anybody else? I'll give you guys a second to count it. Olivia got 3. Anybody get more than 3? It's a hard assignment. Like, comparing these things is hard because we've never been in space. We don't know what's going to be useful and what's not, right? Anybody get higher than 3? Dallin also got 3. Anybody get higher than that? Alex got 0, so not higher than 3. All right, let's go down to the bottom and discuss the order that they put them in. So NASA says that number 1 thing that you need is the oxygen tanks. And it says this is the most pressing survival. Oh, Misty got 4. Nice. Phil only got 2 though. Sorry, Phil. 4 is the best out of everybody so far. So the first one is the oxygen tank. It's the most pressing survival need. Since weight is not a factor on Earth, that oxygen tank is not going to weigh 100 pounds on your back. It's actually only going to weigh 17 pounds, and you have oxygen to survive. So that's your first thing that you're going to need, the oxygen tanks. Yeah, if there's only one of you, then yes. My assumption is that there's more than just one of you guys. I guess I thought that there would be more. You got 5? I didn't see you even do the assignments. Number 2, let's move on. Number 2 is 5 gallons of water. Again, the gallons of water aren't going to be that heavy because it is space and gravity is different up there. But you need water. It says it's needed for replacement for a tremendous liquid loss on the light side. I don't really know what that means, but you need water to survive. Number 3 is the stellar map. This is your primary means of navigation. The star patterns will appear identical on the moon as they do on the Earth, so it's going to lead you in the correct direction. Number 4 is the food. You need energy. You need food to survive. I feel like that's a pretty explanatory one, right? Number 5, we have, let's see, down here, the solar power receiver. This is for communication with the mothership, the place they were trying to get to. FM requires a line of sight transmission and can only be used over short distances. So that means that you're going to have to get close enough to see the mothership. But then you can be like, we're out here, come save us. And they can come get you, right? Number 6 is the 50 feet of rope. This is useful in scaling cliffs and maybe tying some people that are injured together. Because again, if you have to drag someone that's injured behind you, they're going to kind of bounce along behind you because it's not very much gravity, and they're not going to be very heavy. So you can tie someone behind you and just kind of pull them along. Number 7, the first aid kit. The needles connected to vials of vitamins and medicines will fit special aperture in NASA spacesuits. So there's little parts in the spacesuits that they use to give their astronauts like vitamins and minerals and whatever they need, right? So if someone gets hurt, you can give them medicine that might be needed. Number 8, the parachute silk is to protect from the sun. You can put it over top of you. That doesn't seem super useful, but we're getting to the point where things aren't super useful. Skylar, please stop. Thank you. Number 9 is the self-inflating raft. Raft. There's a carbon dioxide dioxide bottle in the raft that, fills it up, right? But you're not using it to fill up the life raft. You're using it for propulsion. Do you guys know what propulsion is?
That's
Well,
propane.
isn't that like kind of how you launch yourself?
Yeah. Is that what you're going to say, Bradford? Yeah. So in space, you don't have a lot of gravity. You're just kind of chilling there, right? But if you use it's like almost like a fire extinguisher, right? Like if you push on it, the air will come out one side and you'll shoot the other direction. So you can use the self-inflating part of it to push yourself in the direction of where you need to go. So it pushes you the direction you need to go. Number 10 is the signal flares. You can use this as a distress signal when you get close enough to the mothership to be able to be seen. Number 11, the pistols, is again, it's not to protect yourself because as far as we know, there's no aliens up there that are going to hurt you or, I don't think that the people that you're with that crash landed are going to try and attack you.
They need propane.
So,
There's a game I play and I think it's not if you shoot it down or launch it.
yeah.
And that's kind of traveling other people.
Yeah, so these pistols can be, again, used to, if you point them in the opposite direction that you need to go, it'll shoot you in the direction you want to go, right? Just make sure you're not pointing it at a person. And then number 12, the case of dehydrated milk. This is a good supply, but it's going to be bulkier and harder to carry than the food concentrate.
You know what, food these days, we can't eat.
Because it's a case, not packages of food.
It's not a
Yeah.
suitcase.
What about the water?
Well, you need the water, so no matter what, you got to bring the water.
Yeah,
Yeah.
water is important.
Water is going to be better for you than milk.
What I'm saying is the water,
You gotta drink the water.
It is, but the water is going to give you better. You need water to survive. Milk, it will help a little bit.
Like in the same
Well,
kind of
help
case.
the water.
I don't know what the water is in. I don't know.
Into the water.
Number 13 is down at the bottom, the portable heating unit. This isn't needed unless you're on the dark side of the moon. And it talked about in the little part at the beginning that you're on the light side of the moon. So the sun is hitting you. You're getting the heat there. You don't need a portable heating unit, right? Bradford?
Okay.
Again, so this is dehydrated milk. So it's basically powder that you add water to make milk. So it doesn't go bad.
It sounds like formula.
Number 14 is the magnetic compass. There is no magnetic field on the moon, so the compass isn't gonna point you in any direction particularly. It's just gonna spin. It's not gonna work, so it's kind of worthless for navigating anywhere. And then finally, the matches are also pretty much worthless because you need oxygen to create fire, and there is no oxygen in space.
Oh, like that.
Well, you'd have the wood on the match. Yeah, but you would have no oxygen to create the fire and the spark. Yeah. So hopefully you guys learned a little bit about space with that. I thought that was a cool activity. I enjoyed it.
Actually, I liked it.
Good.
That was good.
So yes, now that we are done with that, make sure you finish the Google slide with what's the thing at the bottom? These? They look like little spacecrafts. So before you turn it in, make sure you have finished both of them. You need to make sure you finish the Google slide with extreme environment and answer those questions, and make sure you have done your own version of the ranking. And once you're done with both of those, you may get it turned in. Those of you that are online are good to head out, and we will see you tomorrow for ELA at 8 a.m.